Hi there, I'm Jeff Hastings and welcome once again to SLJ.com. It's July 2010 and during the whole month of June I had the distinct pleasure of being able to do lots of my summer reading on this device. It's the Nook from Barnes & Noble, and it's their e-reader that's kind of a response to the very popular Amazon Kindle 2 that I reviewed previously. If you're familiar with the Amazon Kindle 2, the second iteration of their Kindle e-reader, then you're probably very familiar with the Nook as well, because basically the devices are a lot more similar than they are dissimilar. Both feature a 6-inch e-ink based screen with 16 levels of grayscale, and both feature 2 gigabytes of memory, enough to store about 1,500 EPUB format books, and both feature 3G access to their respective libraries. So, very similar devices. I want to point out some of their dissimilarities before discussing price, because this is kind of interesting. Are they head-to-head competitors, the Nook and the Kindle 2? Well, yes, they are, as evidenced by the price war that broke out in the end of June. After I had done the print review for School Library Journal toward the end of June, I think it was about the 22nd of June, Barnes & Noble announced that it was going to reduce the price of their Nook from $259 to $199. Allegedly, only hours later, Amazon countered and said, well, we're going to reduce the price of the Kindle 2 to $189. Ooh. Then, what Barnes & Noble did was they said, okay, well, this device, their device, has 3G access, which you can use to access their library, and or it offers Wi-Fi connectivity as well. They said what we're going to do is we're coming out with a version that is going to be Wi-Fi connectivity only, but it will only be $149. So competition is actually reducing the prices of devices like these. The devices are more similar than they are dissimilar. I want to bring you up close and show you what makes the Nook a distinct device from the Amazon Kindle 2. The biggest difference between the Kindle 2 and the Nook is the way that they navigate and search. Whereas the Kindle 2, which I reviewed back in June 2009, by the way, it had only one screen, the e-ink screen. This one has 2. And it just fell asleep. That is pretty typical. After it's idle for a couple seconds, it'll fall asleep. I'll try to wake it up again. There it is. And the second screen is a much smaller 3.5-inch capacitive color touchscreen. There we go. And it does lend a bit of a cool factor to the device because, well, it's color, and that doesn't impress me particularly, but I know that some people might like that. And it lets you do stuff like going through these cover thumbnails and things like that. Unfortunately, it comes with a big hitch, and here's what it is. Navigation, it really kind of impairs it, because what you're doing before you get your content up, typically you're going through menus like these, and the menus you have to scroll through vertically. How do you scroll through vertically? Well, there are no physical keys to do that. The only physical keys are the power on off keys and the keys that let you go forward in pages and turn pages backward. If you need to do any other sort of navigation, it's handled through the touchscreen. So you constantly have to sort of wake the touchscreen back up as you're using the device. In this case, I have to close out that menu. And then finally, I have my up and down virtual arrows here. So the up and down keys are here, so I can scroll through my menu using the touchscreen. And also my select button is here. It contributes to what is overall kind of a sluggish feel on the Nook, I'm afraid to say, versus the Kindle 2. I get the impression that the refresh rate on the e-ink screen is a bit slower than it is on the Kindle 2. And also, this problem with the navigation being sluggish and counterintuitive is a pretty big one. It's the kind of device that will make you feel like an idiot, because you'll be using it, you'll be 2 or 3 days into using the device and you'll find yourself making the same clunky mistakes over and over just because it has a counterintuitive design. Luckily, I think that Barnes & Noble could fix a lot of the problems through firmware tweaks and maybe a physical hardware tweak or two. Like, I would sort of appreciate a select button and an up and down arrow button physically on the device over the touchscreen. As far as I'm concerned, you could kind of lose the touchscreen. All right. Not to be too harsh though, what do I like about the device? Well, there's a bunch of things. Once you're doing the reading experience, once you're in a book and you're flipping through the pages, it's pretty much the same as the Kindle 2. Here's a couple things I like though. Let's leave on a positive note. Here's a user serviceable battery. The cover, by the way, just pops off, and there's a user serviceable battery for the device. That's nice, and you don't always get that. There's also a micro SD card slot, so you could add storage, so you could store extra books, or more likely, toss a couple of your favorite MP3s onto a micro SD card, and there's a built-in music player, speakers, and a headphone jack on the device, and you can listen to your favorite music while you read. The Nook e-reader from Barnes & Noble, currently selling for $199, but who knows, by the time you see this review, it could be selling for much less. They may be giving them away by that time. Who knows? I'm very glad you visited me this month. I hope to see you again next month right here on slj.com. I'm Jeff Hastings.